My fucking kingdom! Hello there, this is Bick Benedict. We're playing God of War 3, Pain Plus, Chaos difficulty. This is the first substantial boss fight of the run, and he is the Hades boss fight. This guy is very challenging, but as I mentioned before, nothing about him is unfair, and it's a long endurance match. So, this guy, it was designed to use the arrows and the bow on, but since you can't do that on Pain Plus, you've got to get up close and personal with this guy, which is quite dangerous at first until you learn how to avoid the stomp, which is pretty tricky actually. The stomp, he does it with his right leg, and sometimes you evade it and you're thinking to yourself, wow, that was a really good evade. That was perfectly lined up and everything. Other times you evade and you seem like you were well clear of it and you still get hit by it. And I think it has to do with the direction in which you're rolling. I think you're more vulnerable when you're rolling backwards, just because you have fewer iframes than if you're rolling side to side. So just be very careful of that. So this is phase 1, and phase 2 will occur over here. So what I do is, that is his grab. Watch out for that grab. I never even knew he had a grab until now. But what you can do here is the plume or the super plume. The latter is much more unsafe, but it's going to take him down quicker. When he's doing the slashes, you have to be blocking because he'll still turn to you. So on this phase, he will do the jump rope. And one of the issues of the jump rope is when you see him start doing the jump rope, not the strikes. These are the strikes. I'm talking about like when he goes into when you're supposed to be on the other side shooting him with the arrows. That is unblockable, so don't get anywhere near that. And then you'll see the telegraph for when he starts to grab. If he grabs you, it's actually very minuscule damage that you receive, but it still throws you off, and you have to get back to this location. So one of the pitfalls over here is when you see him doing the jump rope, I think he does the one on the ground first, like the lower one. Just one of the pitfalls is if you start to do the super plume and you end up like coming down with the plume, like the super plume, and he's like just at the moment when he's doing the higher jump rope, you land right into it. So it's safer just to do the plume of Prometheus. But here, this is actually a good opportunity to get some health back by destroying the Hades arms and using the super plume to destroy the piece of flesh. If you can't destroy it, and that's happened to all of us, just admit it, you lose a little bit of progress, but it's not the end of the world. And also, just stay clear of the chains. Don't even get anywhere near him, like when you're standing up there. I also question like how much damage you deal him when he's jumping around, and it doesn't say like you're building up a combo. I would go so far as to say you're not hitting him at that point. So this part, what he does, he'll either do 2 strikes and then he'll dig his claws into the ground, or he'll just dig his claws into the ground right away. So this is what he usually does. But notice that all 4 of those attacks are blockable. The 2 strikes that he does, which always will be followed by the claws into the ground. But what you're looking to do right there, you just guard against them. See, guard, and then roll away and use the iframes to evade. The even better way to do it is to, when he's doing that, use the roll to go around him, like on the side of him, or get behind him, and then oh, you see what happened right there? He went to the wall, and I thought the phase was over, but I should have known better because I hadn't taken enough damage off him. So what you need to do here, this phase has another stomp. It's the same leg though, it's a stomp, and I got mauled right there. Usually what I would do though, you guys, is I would just use the iframes for magic, but you still have iframes with the roll. So if he's doing the claw attack, and then you roll like right when he's doing it, like on the other side, you can get behind him and do some good damage. The super plume though is risky though, because it takes a long time to get it to, all the combo hits for it. But what else to say here? Everything's guardable except when he pulls up. Then that's the time when you need to get out of the way. So the next phase, it's going to be up here. Just make sure you jump. And he's got the grab attack, and then he's got the strikes, but this time he has 3 of them, so just make sure you're guarding. And he's got that again, which is his 2-hand overhead strike, so just make sure you're guarding here. And what he's going to do though is that he's going to start introducing the projectiles. They're the skull ones at intervals. So the Pain Plus run does not allow you to parry them back, but I think on accident I may have parried one because I was going for strikes, and what happened is, like, right when I was going to guard, it just necessarily got thrown back at him, but it wasn't the difference of the fight, and it's just an accident. It's nothing intentional on my behalf. So this is just really hard without the bow. It really is. So what I do over here, you guys, is I just do the plume, square, square, triangle, and then when I see him doing the jump rope, I usually actually there's no jump rope for this phase, so that this phase I'd be a little more careful because you're gonna have to go a long way without any checkpoint. So what I tend to do over here is play it a lot more safe and abstain from using the super plume and just go for constant, a barrage of plumes like square, square, triangle, square, square, triangle. Just really heavy and quick strikes with that because it's really powerful. So just observe here though that the skulls are completely blockable, so just don't let them throw you off. This is hard though. I mean, it took me 2 deletions of the guide and several days to find a way to beat this guy. And I would just say, just look out for the grab, look out for his telegraphs. Everything he does is telegraphed really nicely. I love it. So just make sure you're guarding here, because if you don't guard, it takes away a lot of damage. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit bold. I'm using the super plume. And it's just a crazy fight, man. But I really like this fight because it's controlled, it's completely pattern based, and as long as you know what's coming, you can react to it, which I love. Okay, so here's the second phase where we're tearing the flesh out of him. And I don't think I failed on this particular run, but it is easy to fail, and you're really only going to destroy this thing with the super plume, with these blades at level 1. It's just, it has too much HP. So just follow it up with the super plume. The super plume is not going to start a combo, the numbering of the combo, because it only counts as 1 hit. So if you do a super plume, it's hard to tell if it is hitting him and taking away damage, because the combo meter only starts at the 2nd hit. Okay, so this is the more intimidating phase here. You've got the spikes coming up, and when you use the bow, the perpetual movement of you from side to side will negate you from getting hit by the spikes, and in theory so does the movement of the super plume. So if you're moving from left to right to build up the super plume, 6 squares, 3 triangles, you shouldn't get hit by the spikes. See how I'm going from right to left here? It's just that when you turn around, the spikes might be like right really close to you. So just after the strike, the final strike of the super plume, just quickly do the combat roll away, and you want to be guarding here at range, and just don't get too close to him. I'm not sure if that magic attack that he does takes anything, and also that probably takes away some damage. It's just better to be at range here. So super plume is your best friend over here, and block the hellhounds that he sends out, and also just realize that he doesn't do any long range attacks. So at this point, there's no jump roping. The jump roping is only in the first phase. So if you can get here, if you can press the circle button, you will get that checkpoint. But no checkpoint up until now. It's crazy. But I loved it. Like when I beat that, like I felt like a thrill inside my body, and I loved it. So here's the checkpoint, and this is pretty self-explanatory. But I just wanted to say that the first time I tried to beat this guy without using the bow, because up until now, I just want to say a couple of reflections overall, because up until like when I started to do this on Pain Plus, I had always used the bow, because on no upgrade run, you're allowed to use the bow and you're allowed to use magic. So this was a completely new challenge for me, and it was the first challenge that I faced here, like legitimately. I was attempting to thwart my efforts at doing this run, and I suspect it will thwart a lot of people's efforts, because you just don't stay close to this guy. I mean, it was designed for the bow. They give you the bow, they allow you to upgrade it once at a cheap price, and you know, the interesting thing is, though, even though it was designed for the bow, it still works fine if you do a melee combat. So I just thought that it was an eye-opening experience for me, and I just had a lot of fun, but the learning curve here is really high. Really high. The nice thing, though, is the sheer number of things that can be blocked. However, you know, along the lines of that, you also have to realize at what point you're vulnerable, because the things you cannot block are going to take away a hell of a lot from your HP bar, which it's going to have to remain this small for the entire run. And up ahead, you do have to use the Hades claws. So as much as this is a Blades of Exile run only, there are certain moments where you have to use a certain weapon because it just doesn't let you switch. So he's almost dead. It's nice to be able to have the software complete the QuickTime events for you. I mention this every time, but the next circle QuickTime event right over here, it has to be completed by you, even if you have Hephaestus's ring on. See that right there? I was waiting for it to complete, because some of these I can't remember if they do fail. But this game has the great concept, and a lot of people really love it, of a boss has a weapon, you divest the boss of the weapon, and then after you slay the boss, you then have the ability to use the boss's weapon from the rest of the game. And a lot of God of War has that in it, and I think a lot of that was missing from Ascension. I mean, every aspect of that was missing as far as the weapons, and I think we need to get back to that. You know, take God of War 2, the Barbarian King. You kill him, you get his hammer. Things like that. So on this, I just wanted to mention the fact that sometimes the only pitfall over here that makes this somewhat unfair sometimes is that when he's doing his breath, I think it's that, yeah, that. It's not just that it's in the middle of the platform that you're on, because he'll turn it towards wherever you're at, so you have to get on the other side. And if the handhold doesn't appear, the R1 or L1, is it R1? Yeah, it's just R1. If that doesn't appear, you're kind of screwed. And trust me, I've been screwed by this guy. So, you're just kind of waiting there desperately for it to appear. What else does this guy have? He has that. When he has that, just get to the other side of him. He has a slam, which he does with either hand. And depending on which side of him you're on, you'll either be running up his back, or since I was on this side, you're just going to be smashing his head into the ground. And that is a slayed Hades. Take care.